Excellent, perfect timing, Jay, because that is Jungle Drums just beginning.
If I knew.
See, you knew. You're the man. You're the man. The big question that Gimboyd has for you, though. Go ahead, Gim.
What?
Well, remember, you came back with an Iron Brew and Trifle. And so,
Oh yeah, that's gone already. That was very good.
you wanted to see what you returned with.
What I'd returned with?
Yes.
I think it might be a drink. I could be wrong. It's in a glass, contains water and some juice, so I think it counts.
Perpetual disappointment.
I know, right? Tell me about it. Welcome to my life.
Oh my. Well, speaking of your life, how have you been anyway?
Yeah, good. Bit tired still, but good. I mean, it's the weekend in a day's time, so I can't complain.
I've been just keeping you busy, I take it then.
Yeah, I went out and played, played football on Tuesday. You know, I reaffirmed how unfit I was with that, so that's always nice. 5 minutes in, I thought I wanted to throw up. Let's spend most of my time in goal. It was good though, it was good fun. I definitely want to keep going at it and see if I can improve that. But yeah, I've just had a few sort of late finishes and I've got a nice busy weekend ahead of me as well. So,
excellent.
Really good time to stop.
No gaming time for you this week.
No, it's been really upsetting actually. I've got to.
What about Friday? Are you going to be able to at least get on Friday, or do you have plans? Are you busy?
Well, basically, Saturday, Sunday, I'm out doing scouting stuff, so I'm pretty much out for the entire weekend.
But you're good for Friday though.
Friday, yeah. Sorry.
The one day that you were asked about.
Yeah, the one day that I asked. Yeah. No, it's great. Yes.
Friday.
Hey, I want to ask you about the specific thing. Yes. Hey, what? Guess what? I'll tell you about everything except that specific thing.
I misheard. Okay, shut up. It's been a long week. I'm still good for Friday night. I'm still good for that. That's been put in my calendar as cannot be interrupted.
What about yourself, Gim? How you been keeping?
Usual. Still haven't had the problem wisdom teeth out yet. That's happening the Tuesday that's coming up. So it's only just occasional spurts of pain from those until then. So and they'll be gone, and then I'll have nothing to complain about, and I will be disappointed because I'm British and I love complaining.
That's true.
Complaining, curing brain.
Right, well, there's been a severe lack of gaming this week. I haven't really played that much. I mean, I got on, I think Tuesday, did my usual type, Flashpoint and things, and
I did one of those.
Besides that, that's really been about it. So I think that still, I would imagine the Nightfall hasn't been done yet. I would imagine.
I haven't touched Nightfall.
I know the Crucible engram was unlocked. I think that was it. Oh my. Right.
More time on Warframe.
Good. When's there any idea yet? Is it still looking like November?
Early November is
early November.
They're going to get to announcing anything.
That's fair enough.
They did just put out a Tenogen patch on PC, so
excellent.
Shouldn't be too long.
Right. Speaking of gaming, our first bit of news is about a game that, come on, we're playing it all the time. Hashtag Super Siege Bros. And this, of course, is Rainbow Six Siege. This article I sourced from PC Gamer, and it's talking about the mid-season reinforcements. I grabbed this yesterday, so I do believe that the changes went live today, because I'm pretty sure they were doing maintenance today. But so anyway, at a glance, they were going to improve the netcode. They were going to be making changes to Capcan, Blitz, and Ella. Ella, of course, being one of the newer operators. But so the mid-season reinforcements update has also, there's like a few bug fixes in there, quite a bit of balance changes. And so just at a glance, some of these things that I want to talk about. The first one, which is quite big, is for Capcan. Capcan is now going to be able to carry 5 entry denial devices, right? Not only that, these new, door and window bomb, the little traps that you can set, have laser tripwires. But now, after the update, those lasers will fade out and disappear after they've been deployed. So it ends up making them so much harder to see. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh my god, this just makes it even more ridiculous. But they've actually balanced it a little bit by, instead of these mines being instant kills, now they only do 60 points of damage. So okay, yes, you could still kill someone, but if they're at full health, you know, it's not a guaranteed kill. And the last change they've done with Capcan is changed him from a from a 1-speed operator up to a 2-speed operator. That way, you know, enabling him to be able to cover more ground, you know, during that preparation phase and actually get his defenses set up properly. At a glance, guys, what do you think of that? What do you think of these Capcan changes?
That's quite. You know what? The fact that it doesn't kill isn't actually too much of an issue. That's a really, really good positive change to Capcan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that one you can put 5 up. I mean, that's essentially if all 5 triggers 300 points of damage you can deal to the team.
Yeah,
that's technically 3 people at the team. There's a lot of damage. Obviously, they're not all going to necessarily be the case, but it's nice though because it means now you still got to be a bit wary where you place them, but you can be a bit more open-minded. You don't have to worry about, like, you know, placing 3 to 1 point and them never getting used.
Yeah.
Or touch. The fact again as well, they're a lot harder to see because, to be fair, we've all had our things of running into a Capcan blind leadings. Usually when we have to rush in, but if we're taking our time, they're usually pretty easy to see.
No, you're right.
And again, that 60 points of damage will change the fight massively.
The thing that kind of sticks out for me is like you said, I mean, effectively you're doing the same amount of damage, 300 points. You know, it's just spread out over 5 instead of 3. And I think what gets me is that means, at least in my eyes now as a Capcan player, I'm going to have to make sure I keep track of where my denial devices are, because if it's not going to kill that person, then, well, guess what? They still got in. Yeah, you damaged them quite a bit, so it almost kind of makes me think that you need to kind of overwatch these a little bit, or at least, you know, be able to keep track of them really well. Because before, let's be honest, you just put down the tripwires and then just forgot about them until you got that little thing in your feed telling you, oh look, I killed someone, woohoo, yay.
Yeah.
It sort of brings them in line with, say, for example, Frost's traps.
Yes.
Because a trap will take someone down, but then if you don't go finish them off, they're just going to be picked up and carry on.
Yeah. No, you'll
be listening out for bombs. Also, it will change attackers a bit, because usually when you saw there was a Capcan, you was just like, well, there's going to be 3 of these things. Going to be able to see them, going to shoot them. As long as we're not stupid, we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's a case of, well, there's a lot more. We're not going to have enough time to be just hunting them down or anything. You need an operator to take care of them, so you'll probably get more use from Thatcher and RQ, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
Be a lot more useful.
No, it does. It looks like a good tactical change. You know, like you say, it just makes it more. You know, I think there's going to be a little bit more thinking involved with Capcan, where, you know, you want to
use.
You know, now it's slowing them down, and, you know, maybe making them panic a little bit rather than just an outright kill.
I think both you and Joe make a fair point as well in terms of both teams keeping track of them. Like, yeah, you say you as a Capcan have to keep track, but then again, as Joe said, trying to, like, if you destroy one Capcan, you think, I say 2 more left. You know, you can be a little bit less cautious, but with 5 of them, you've really got to keep track.
Yeah.
Because you'll think you've destroyed them all, then suddenly you'll get hit by another, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?"
No, it'd be quite interesting to see what the best way to set. You know, because it almost makes you wonder if setting like 2 like really close to each other. You know what I mean? Like in little doorways and stuff, where that way if someone sprints through like a double doorway or 2 sets of doors, then they would actually die. It's interesting. No, it'll be cool to see that in game. We'll have to maybe have a little Rainbow Six Siege date next week or something.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Blitz as well. Right now, this is quite good. You know, one of Blitz's biggest drawbacks has always been that, you know, the character's extremely vulnerable without the shield. You know, that's kind of the whole point of the character. The shield's what keeps him alive. And when you sprint, as we all know, you know, he basically drops the shield to the side so he can run as fast as he can. So you have to be very, very careful when you sprint. Well, in this latest update, they said, look, you know, they've basically, to remedy that, what we've done is he'll now be able to sprint with his shield still protecting him. So a minor change, but quite a good one. You know, basically the reasoning is to allow Blitz to close that gap you know, because you need to be relatively close to use the shield flash. So that seems like a good change. It doesn't seem groundbreaking to me. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. It doesn't seem like super huge, but a welcome addition, I would say, for Blitz players.
It does seem quite nice for change. Because as you said, like Blitz, I mean, there's been a lot of problems with Blitz, hasn't there, throughout the pipeline, throughout the history, so Siege. And that's quite a nice little change again. It's just a good change in the right direction.
Yeah. You know, I mean, for so long they kept saying buff Blitz, so hey, look.
Yeah, exactly. Finally happened.
I think the best thing about it is because the only time I've really seen Blitz be quite successful when playing is when he's alongside, say, Monty or something.
Yeah.
Like someone else with a shield.
Yeah, no, that's fair, because I mean, let's be honest, Blitz's actual shield coverage isn't great to begin with.
No, it's just like a standard shield that you can get with Fuse or something.
Yeah, so no, that's fair.
Crew.
The third operator that's gotten a big change is Ella. Ella, of course, being that new Grom operator that came with the Operation Blood Orchid expansion. And guess what? The stats are showing that her pick and win rate is just too high in comparison to other operators. I don't know if they're taking these stats from, you know, ranked matches or just all matches overall, but according to Ubisoft, she's actually performing higher than she should be. So they're nerfing her slightly. Basically, to rein her in a little bit, instead of carrying the 4 mines that she currently has, that's being nerfed down to 3. And then also, one of my favorite things about Ella was the weapon. That SMG was just ridiculous. And sure enough, Ubisoft have said, yes, you're right, it is ridiculous. What they've done is they've changed the intensity of the recoil of the weapon, and also the speed at which it tops out has been increased a little bit. So just slight little nerfs to her in the hopes that will kind of balance things out. So I don't know if either of you guys played enough with her to get a good feel for her or not.
Nope.
Not massively, but again, from the little time that I think a lot of us did get, we did kind of see that trend with her. We did say she did seem very ridiculous, obviously for what she was. So again, I'm kind of not surprised by that, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how good Mira's SMG was, right?
Yeah.
And Ella's SMG shat all over the Vector. So, I mean, it gives you an idea how good that weapon was. So, no, I think that definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
I didn't really get much of a feel for it because Blood Orchid came out on the same day as Destiny 2.
Yeah.
So, haven't really played since.
It's true, but at least we'll be going back pretty shortly, because let's be honest, D2's kind of, we're entering one of those slight kind of droughts, you know, unless we all buy it on PC. Just saying.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's not. I can't remember where I saw this, but it's not really a content drought. There's just no incentive to do the content that's there.
Yes, you're right.
I can't remember where I saw that. I saw that appeared on my Twitter feed. And I can't remember.
You're right. There's a bunch of stuff to do,
right.
just nothing meaningful at the moment. And lastly, when it comes to Siege, they've also done a few bug fixes, and they've addressed some issues when it comes to ping abuse and peeker's advantage. Come on, we can all agree we've been on the receiving end of that. Where, let's be honest, if someone's peeking, you know, there's sometimes angles where you can't see someone, but yet they've been able to see you. So they've made a few network improvements, including latency alignment, pawn-to-pawn physics, hit validation, and replication improvements, changes to ping displays, and new connectivity icons that will help you monitor the status of your client, of the server, and of your network connection. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Lots of nice little changes. We're definitely going to have to take a look at that, gents, and
yeah, we will.
Very much so.
See what we can.
Knowing the way things are, this next week, Bungie will sneak in an event or something.
Yeah, probably.
Right, next is a bit of tech news, which has been relatively all over the internet. It came out the other day there. So the one article I sourced was from our friends over at WCCF Tech, and of course this is about the Kinect. Hasta la Vista Kinect. Microsoft finally waves goodbye to the Kinect, ending production after 7 years. It's a strange one with the Kinect because, I mean, you look at when Xbox One first came out, it was mandatory. I mean, it came packaged with the damn Xbox One, and they kept trying to sell it, kept trying to talk it up, and let's be honest, the actual...
It was mandatory with the release of Xbox One as well.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, you had to, for all its weird features and whatnot.
Main reason I waited, nearly 2 years to get one.
And then when you add to the fact that when we then found out that it was nerfing performance of like 20% of the Xbox or something, it didn't take long for people want to not use it. And it's on one hand, it's a real shame because the actual technology behind the Kinect is quite amazing because it has, an actual, what you would call, I guess, a 3D camera where it can actually scan depth. It can actually, I've seen all these crazy mods where people plug it into a PC and they've got the correct software for it. And you can actually 3D map an object using the Kinect. Tech-wise, it's amazing. The Kinect 2.0 is a beautiful piece of hardware. But let's be honest, I mean, besides Fruit Ninja and Air Guitar Warrior, there's really...
Star Wars Kinect.
Yeah, Star Wars Kinect. There wasn't really that...
One good mini game.
I think developers even just started to forget about it, because wasn't there one of the Mass Effect games that was supposed to have cool voice stuff going with it, where you could do vocal commands or something while you were playing the game? Was it one of the Mass Effects?
They did put it in for, I think Mass Effect 2 had it as a feature, but they never really, I think it was 2. They never bothered to actually tell you about it. You could do it, but it's it's a thing, we put it in, didn't take us long.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a strange thing. I mean,
pointless.
The Kinect was one of the foundations of the Xbox One. I mean, the devs themselves said when we introduced Xbox One, we designed it to have the best experience with the Kinect. That was their goal with the Xbox One launch. And then, sure enough, as the years went on, it was just nobody wanted or needed it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some use case scenarios for it. Especially if you've got teenagers or even younger than teenagers, if you've got kids that like to play Just Dance and stuff, then yeah, it is quite fun for that. I've won a few dance-offs myself. Not on the new Kinect, but on the 360. But so finally after, I'm trying to think, really, I mean, I think the writing's been on the wall probably since 2014 or 2015. But now finally Microsoft has said, yeah, they're just they're not going to produce anymore. That's it. It's gone. I think the other thing that was quite noticeable whenever we saw the 1S launch and it didn't have a Kinect port, but you could get an adapter for free, and then with the 1X, they've just said no. We're not going to give you an adapter. If you really want one, okay, go get one. But yeah, it's just kind of a shame. But then again, the Kinect technology lives on through the Microsoft HoloLens and the new mixed reality headsets. Even the face recognition software that's in the new iPhone X was actually developed by the same companies that worked on Kinect. So it served its purpose in the tech and gaming world. Just not for us on Xbox. For some reason.
It's a more proof of concept thing rather than actual decent accessory.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a natural kind of thing. I mean, look, we already know, remember, they've stopped producing the original Xbox One. Right? They actually stopped manufacturing that a long time ago. As soon as they started making the 1S, they stopped manufacturing the One. So this is just the way this goes with products. It's just, it makes sense. Why would they continue to produce the Kinect when the 1S and the new 1X that's coming out in so soon, don't actually natively, or not natively, but out of the box don't support the Kinect. You would have to go buy a separate adapter. So it just makes sense that they've, just decided to, kiss it goodbye, so to speak.
I think the thing with the Kinect is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was really cool when it came out, but it was quite a gimmicky thing. I mean, essentially, it was a better iToy, if we're going to be completely and utterly honest, in terms of the scope of it all.
It was far better than iToy, but it was
but yeah, I mean, iToy did confess. I'm not obviously saying Kinect's shit, but it was good. But I think the other thing you've got to look at as well is with how big the rise of VR has been now, that is what companies are focusing on. That's what devs are focusing on. They don't care about the Kinect anymore. They've got this VR stuff now. That is what they're heavily focused on. That's probably part, I'm not saying the full reason why, because obviously there is other reasons, but that's probably part of the reason why there's been a decline in the Kinect as well, is because when you compare something like that to something like VR, that's where all the tech stuff is moving nowadays, is towards VR. There's so much stuff going on with it all. Again, looking at this HoloLens stuff, it's just been left back in the dust. So that, as you say, they've looked at them and they've said, this doesn't work anymore. As you say, with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, not natively supporting it, it was kind of gonna happen. It was inevitable, really. Again, you look at these last few years, as you said, I think it was 2014. Did you say? I'm barely hearing or seeing anything about Kinect. In actual fact, I can quite happily say in the last few years of gaming, it's never really cropped up as something that's been like, this game makes use of Kinect, or this game really uses it, or the Kinect's making a big comeback. It kind of, I want to say, died after the sort of first year of it coming out almost. I mean, I could be wrong, but to me, it didn't feel like it was a fad that lasted long.
No, I mean, that's because it did have quite a negative reception. Once this whole kind of thing came about, when people learned if they unplugged it, because they did eventually release the update that allowed you to, because like Gim said, I think in the beginning you couldn't, it had to stay connected. But once they released that update and people noticed, whoa, wait a minute, my games are running better, what's going on? And then someone somewhere, I don't know if it was Digital Foundry or somebody, ended up actually being able to do like a side-by-side comparison, and saw that sure enough it was eating up something like 20% of the RAM, and I don't know, I want to say it was around a ballpark of 20% of a performance decrease with the Kinect plugged in. So that just immediately, the internet went crazy about it, saying, oh my god, this is outrageous, this is horrible, why the hell should I have this, blah 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 blah. And that was when finally Microsoft responded and said, okay, right, we'll offer a package that doesn't come with it, just to kind of make consumers happy.
Yep. Thank you.
Indeed. But no, I never bothered getting a Kinect. I mean, the thing is too,
I didn't got either.
Kinect was quite handy for people who wanted to stream directly from their Xbox. That way it gave them a decent camera and whatnot. But even now, that has been quashed, because in the latest update to the Xbox One, you can now plug in a USB webcam. So it's the timing as well. You see that Microsoft's kind of, there's no way they could have killed off the Kinect if they didn't offer that USB webcam support. There'd be too many people who would be up in arms over that. I just kind of...
At least a dozen.
At least a dozen. At least a dozen.
Yeah, Kinect isn't fantastic.
Right, okay, a bit of gaming news. Well, it's not really gaming news, but it's kind of performance-wise, because I was curious. We were kind of talking about this the other day. And so this is over at WCCF Tech, and this is talking about how Destiny 2 has had the largest digital launch ever on console, as well as Divinity Original Sin 2 selling 660,000 units. We were having a conversation the other day about, we were wondering if Destiny 2 had sold as well as the original Destiny or not, and we weren't quite sure, but sure enough, according to Superdata, which Superdata is a research group that basically does a whole bunch of I'm trying to think what their sources are, but anyway, they're a trusted source, and basically if I pull this up here, We can see their top grossing titles by category. On PC has been League of Legends, of course, that shouldn't surprise anyone. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds down at number 4, World of Warcraft number 6, World of Tanks number 7. But in console, it's quite interesting. Destiny 2 is number 1, followed by FIFA 18, then NBA 2018, GTA 5, etc., etc. So I find that quite interesting that basically, for consoles, what the report says is that there's been a 25% jump in digital revenue for consoles, which is mostly attributed to Destiny 2. And it's quite interesting because it seems to be doing really well digitally, but it's dropped about 50% at retail for the physical copies compared to Destiny 1. But no, so quite neat. But yeah, they're saying that Destiny 2 has had the largest digital launch event ever recorded on console. And we were just talking about this the other day, weren't we? We were curious how it's actually performed. And as it turns out, pretty damn well.
Yeah, quite interesting, isn't it? Considering what the overall, I won't say consensus of the game has been with regards to recently, as we just spoke about earlier, in terms of the endgame stuff. So it makes you wonder if a lot of that is from the original point of the game coming out.
Yeah.
Because as you said, there's obviously a lot of the physical copies now. Like I said, we've seen game advertising Destiny 2 on sale, which I don't think we ever saw Destiny 1 even being looked at to begin with at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing, because whenever I saw that, basically the other week we saw the game, which is the UK's version, like GameSpot or whatever it's called over in the States. GameStop. Yeah, GameStop I think it's called.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, $34.99, and that was barely a month after launch. I mean, yes, we're used to seeing games discounted a couple of months afterwards, but we were discussing it, saying, well, wait a minute, with the first Destiny, that sure as hell didn't happen, at least not that I can recall. I was pretty sure that stayed at full price fairly, for quite a long time, because it was so well performing. It was selling, they couldn't keep the damn thing in stock. But it seems like this time around for Destiny 2, digital sales have been awesome, but the physical ones have been pretty bad. Now, do you think, could that be something to do with their kind of very limited run for their special editions? Because, I mean, the collector's edition was practically impossible to get.
Yeah.
And then even the physical, was it the limited edition? I think it was.
Might have been, yeah.
I think it was called the limited, because I tried to get one of those, and
that one with like a bowl book, wasn't it, and everything? There was
yeah,
it was limited.
Whereas with Destiny 1, I was able to buy the Taken King Collector's Edition, no problem, like the physical version, with its beautiful big box and all that, and it seems quite strange. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know if they didn't make as many or whatnot. I don't under, or if it's just a case of, people are just more interested now. They don't want to have a physical version of the game. They don't want the hassle of having to change out discs.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Because on PC we've already kind of moved away from that. When's the last time you've had like a friend or anyone go into game and buy a physical PC game?
Barely happens, does it now? I mean, especially when you look at these big sellers, Steam, with all these deals and everything. It's very rare that I'd even look at buying a PC game, physical copy, because I'll just wait for it to be on Steam sales or stuff like that. Yeah, you'd be right now. It just probably would not happen at all with PCs. It's the same with, with console games. I don't get me wrong, I've still got a lot of console games that I've brought because it is a lot cheaper for me to buy them off things like Amazon, but it does become a pain in the arse sometimes to have to constantly swap discs, and I do tend to buy quite a lot of games digitally now as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was always the same. If I could get it cheaper physically, I would. And then I think I have just gotten to that point now where if it's a special version, if it's a collector's edition, I'll try to get the physical version because all that extra stuff that you get. It's nice to have these little, booklets and badges or posters or whatever, figurines with some of them.
Yeah.
But it's still quite enjoyable. And I know it's old school. I mean, I know this is, me showing my age, but doing stuff like the Boxing Day sales, or even in the New Year, there's something quite nice about going into a shop and seeing, like a big red sticker on a game or something, and you go, oh, holy shit, I can buy this for, £6, or it's only a tenner or something. There's still quite a nice, feel about that.
Yeah.
And for me, I'll be more, if I'm in a shop and I see an amazing deal, I'll be more likely to buy that than if I was sitting at home browsing through the store and go, oh wow, look, that's half off. Oh, okay, yeah, cool.
See, this is half the reason why I avoid places like CEX, because I know I'd go in to buy games I probably won't have time to play. Because it's the exact same. I mean, to be fair though, I find myself, if I see deals in stores and stuff, I will end up checking Amazon and places to see if that is a better deal. But then you have always got, like, if you want multiple games, you always got like these nice deals. Game have always like buy 3 for X amount of money or buy 2. Again, that's why I try not to go into places like that in CEX, because I know I'll end up buying games that I don't need.
So true. So true. What about yourself, Kim?
Mm-hmm.
What do you prefer these days? Getting a physical version or just digitally?
It just depends which is cheaper at the time, which usually ends up being physical. But there's certain games that are just, you have to get them digital because they're like indie titles or something, or they're just on offer at the time. But I did get Destiny 2 physical copy because it was cheaper by about £10, something silly like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that's we've discussed that as well before, how sometimes it's...
retail stores refuse to die, so they make the companies mark them up with digital.
Yeah, it's just... you're paying for the convenience instead of you're saving money by not having to worry about packaging and whatnot.
Packaging and postage. And
yeah. Digital delivery is more expensive, it would seem, than Royal Mail.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? That?
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
Expensive electrons, though. Expensive electrons.
I know, right? Gotta be careful with those.
Indeed they are.
It's not like they're everywhere.
Right, a little bit of tech news. We've been talking the last week or two even about the upcoming NVIDIA's GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. We had covered when it was announced, when it was rumored. Then we covered when it was actually announced, the release date. There was going to be a paper launch today. And then the actual physical release was going to be on November 2nd, I believe. So we'd covered all that information. And I wasn't going to talk about it again till we had benchmarks. But unfortunately, there's an embargo. And so basically, I've went over to videocards.com, that's cards with a Z, where they've got a neat little article that doesn't break embargo. And it's just kind of showing some of the different models that are going to be available from the various vendors. Because it's been quite neat. Basically, NVIDIA's lifted the embargo on all the marketing materials. Reviewers are now allowed to show their cards. They can, physically actually show them, but they're not allowed to release any benchmarks or any performance data. I can tell you that today there were some prices kicking about, because the other day there was like these leaked prices that were just ridiculous. Like we're talking like 600 euros or something, which is not the price point this card was supposed to be. But I saw some stuff online for pre-order, and so Jay, might interest you. I mean, it's still expensive, but about 420 quid for the card. So that's still Okay, that's more expensive than a normal 1070 because you can get a normal 1070 for about 360, 370, Great British pounds, all the way up into the kind of 400s for the fancy ones. But it looks like the 1070 Ti is going to be around 420 and higher, obviously depending on if it's got RGB and Aura Sync and all that kind of crazy crap.
All the little extras.
Which still makes it cheaper than a 1080. And, well, obviously half the price of a 1080 Ti. But whether or not it's worth it, we still don't know, because until that embargo lifts and we can see the performance benchmarks, there's just no way of telling if that's going to be a good value. On paper, it looks like it should. It's obviously going to perform better than a 1070. Not as good as a 1080, but, it's looking like it's probably on the higher end, like probably just under a 1080, depending on resolution. I would imagine if you want a game in 4K, it's probably not going to be as well performing as a 1080, just because of the fact that a 1080 has more available memory. But we'll see. It's interesting. I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. I can't wait to actually look at the benchmarks. It's an expensive card, but when you factor in, look, a 1060, if you can get one at a decent price, is about 260 quid at the minute. So jumping up another 140 quid for a card that should be able to tear through 1080 content, no problem. Probably perform really well at 1440, and even allow you to do a bit of 4K gaming if you tone down a few settings here and there. It could really be an awesome card. And for 400 quid, don't get me wrong, I know that's expensive, but in the world of video cards, that's actually a pretty damn good price.
That's not too bad, to be fair. Especially when you look at, if you want to buy things like the Titans, Black, so that's like $1,000 a card, isn't it? Same with the 1080 Ti's and one of their expenses. It's not a bad price.
No, it'll be pretty good. Again, that is what they should be priced. Whether or not they will is another matter. To be fair though, the Nvidia prices have been relatively stable. It's only the AMD cards that have really kind of went super crazy and high. So this is the thing. If this works out cheaper than the Vega 56 and actually spanks it, could be a very nice option for folk building a system.
Yes.
I've even been kind of thinking ahead a little bit, and like my CPU's good, but the 1060 is great for 1080p, but I'm trying to think a little bit further down the line, like it'd be nice to have 1440 panels, or even if I step up to 4K.
You've got to look at the fact that you've got your nice 4K Xbox coming soon. You've got to buy a monitor TV for that, so you might as well let your PC make use of it as well.
See, this is what I was thinking about, right? Because that I'm going to be building a living room PC, a home entertainment one, basically, right? Out of old parts, and it just occurred to me, right? Like on the current TV, it'll be absolutely fine. Like it's an old AMD, an R9 280, and the Athlon 750K Black Edition, and it'll be absolutely fine. I can play games on that, no problem. And I just started thinking, I was like, oh, but wait a minute. Once we upgrade to a 4K TV, that system isn't going to be able to handle that. Like, it'll be fine for Netflix and stuff. It'll be able to deal with that. It'll be able to deal with watching videos and stuff, but there's no way you'd be able to game at 4K decently on that, unless I do some magic tricks with my PC where, I don't know, I'm freaking having this do some of the work and just stream it. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But yeah, no, you're right. If we get a 4K TV, then I may have to consider some PC upgrades, unfortunately, eventually. Or I just say to hell with it, and the 1X is the 4K machine, and just deal with, this stuff. But that being said, we know that moving forward, you'll be able to stream at 4K to Mixer. We know that Elgato already has their 4K Pro capture card that's going to be coming out soon. 4K is upon us.
Yep.
It's a shame. It'll be good though. So I still need to take the family into a store. I want to show them a 4K HDR set, like in person, just so they can understand what the hell I'm talking about. You know, why it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But we shall see. We shall see. Right. This is a bit
4K. I'm looking at 40K. Sorry.
4K.
No, they just announced they're bringing back an Necromunda into a box game.
Oh, nice.
So
that'll be cool.
but that's not video games or tech. So continue.
But it's Warhammer, and we've all got a soft spot for Warhammer. It's fine. Right. I came across this by accident. And it's actually on Kickstarter, right? I had no idea this was happening. Years ago, and I still have the CD-ROM. I think it's a CD and not a DVD. No, it might be a DVD. Anyway, I've still got the flipping disc of a game from ages ago called Aquanox. And Aquanox was this really cool... It was basically a first-person shooter, but instead of a person, you're actually on a little kind of ship that's underwater. So as you can imagine, you had full kind of 3D movement. It was quite fast-paced, but it also had kind of RPG elements to it. Aquanox was brilliant. I can't remember the year it came out. I remember at the time I had a GeForce 4. It would have been a TI 4600, and the game ran amazingly. I could actually run it, because back in the day, obviously, we didn't have these fancy 16:9 screens that kids have nowadays. You know, you had square.
The first Equinox was 2001.
Was it 2001?
Yeah.
So I had a Sony 19-inch regular monitor, you know, a proper one that weighed a ton, CRT, and it was 1600 by 1200, and that video card could run that game at 1600 by 12, and it was just beautiful. The graphics were just so fluid, the action was great, the story was quite cool, but, you know, was absolutely gorgeous. Well, sure enough, over on Kickstarter, they had a thing going for Aquanox Deep Descent. And so this was going to be a reimagined Aquanox with pilot customized fighter ships, you know, blah, 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 blah. It was the actual original team that made, you know, the original game, but they just, you know, there was no studio that wanted to remake it. So they took to Kickstarter to see if they could get this crowdfunded. And sure enough, they have. I saw on Twitter today sign-ups. Was it sign-ups? Or I think it was a competition where you could win a beta key for it. So, you know, I think it was beta. Yeah, because I think they've already done the alpha. But either way, this is going to be so cool. I mean, because it's an underwater vehicle shooter, but you have the you control it like an FPS. Like, I remember trying to use a joystick, and it just didn't feel as good as just controlling it as if it was a first-person shooter. But it was pretty neat. You know, it's going to have 4-player co-op. Obviously, you know, have the game store. You're going to be able to explore. It's got the RPG elements where you're mining, salvaging, trading, and looting. There's also PvP where you do deathmatch and team deathmatch modes. It's looking pretty good, and they're going to be using the early prototype was on the Unreal Engine 3, whereas the final game's going to be on the Unreal Engine 4. And that's going to give it a huge graphical upgrade. I mean, here's some comparison pictures they've got from 3 to 4, and it does look like a fantastic game. It was, like I say, the original was just very, how to even describe it? Like, the setting was great, like the music and the sound effects, just everything about it was just really, really set the tone. I don't know if either of you guys had heard or ever played the original.
No. It does look a bit like Underwater Elite, maybe.
That's actually a pretty good comparison. Yeah.
Also reminds me a bit of Subnautica.
Yes, yep.
That's a bit more on the sort of survival sort of thing. Whereas Aquanox Deep Descent doesn't seem to have survival elements. So.
Yeah, no,
There's loot and mining and stuff.
Yep, there was loot, there was mining. Basically, you started off with like a real junk kind of ship, and you could, through your different trading and stuff, you could, add modules, upgrade it, buy a new one. But then they had all these different ports you could go to, just like Elite, where you would talk to people. And so anyone you talk to, basically, like it had almost like a comic book type, that kind of graphic, of them. And there was quite a bit of humor in it. It was one of my favorite games way back when. I wonder if that'll actually work if I put the disc in. You know what I mean? Because it's that old. It'd be worth having a look and see if I can get that to work on Windows 10. That would be a nice little trip down memory lane, I would think. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that one, boys and girls. Aquanox Deep Descent. It should be coming out sometime in the near future, I think. Let's see if there's got anything on their page.
They have a Steam page. It's somewhere. I did that open now.
Yeah, because they had the alpha back in April. Then they've been doing. I think
Release date just says 2017 in a minute.
2017. Wow, can't be that far away then. We're getting near the end of that. So we are.
Yep.
That's his Steam page.
Ah, okay. Let's have a little look. I'll pull
Most
that
recent
up.
update on the 20th, where they're doing a Steam multiplayer beta weekend. I assume that's for their backers.
Oh, yeah, must be. Yeah, multiplayer beta. Ah, see, okay, yeah, 27. See, because that's what I'd seen on Twitter. There was something like a contest or something to win beta keys. So that's interesting, but just a multiplayer beta. But no, like I said, the original had a really good story. I could see you playing this, Gim. I think this would be something right up your alley. But it was just overall, it was a cool game. It was pretty neat. Pretty neat. Right. A final bit of news is a bit of tech news. There's been all sorts of stuff happening lately with processors. Of course, Coffee Lake came out, and sure enough, it hasn't disappointed. The new i7s, the 8700K, the 6-core with hyper-threading is an amazing CPU. Gives you a nice balance of single-threaded performance for gaming, but also plenty of cores for streaming, for rendering, blah blah blah. So Intel has reacted to Ryzen really well in the desktop market. I know we've kind of speculated whether it was reactionary or not, but let's be honest, it takes years to develop this type of technology. So if anything, it was in parallel to AMD's research as well. But just because, AMD, had kind of came out with Ryzen, and so now Intel's reacted, there's still a whole other market that's up for grabs, and it looks like AMD is about to land another blow on Intel. And that's when it comes down to mobile processors. And I don't mean like, cell phone mobile processors, but specific processors for ultra-thin laptops and whatnot. Because we all know, yes, you can put a desktop processor in a laptop computer, but guess what? It's going to suck up a lot of power. It's going to get really hot, and hence why for your normal kind of laptops, the ones that aren't the gaming ones, they tend to use special mobile CPUs. The downside with mobile CPUs is a lot of times in these really thin laptops, you end up having integrated graphics, which are, so-so. Well, the newest Ryzen mobile CPUs that are going to be coming out soon, which I suppose are better described as APUs, are going to have Vega graphics built into them. So the desktop Ryzen, sure enough, was competitive with the Intel processors. But these mobile Ryzens look to go even one better than Intel. Really quite interesting. Now, we've got to say, this doesn't mean you're going to be able to play Destiny 2 at 4K on one of these chips. That's not what we're saying. We're not talking about those crazy gaming laptops you can buy with dual 1070s and SLI. Laptops like this thick, requires 2 power bricks and whatnot. That's not the type of laptop we're talking about. We're talking about the nice thin ones, the ones that use mobile CPUs and mobile video cards, which usually they're not discrete. Usually we're talking about the ones that are built in. So for example, on the Core i7s, it's the Intel HD graphics and whatnot. So that's the proper kind of apples to apple comparison. We're not talking about laptops with discrete video cards. But I'll tell you what, they've got a little graph here that's really quite interesting. See if I can zoom in just a little bit here. And it was showing a 3D Mark Time Spy score. Let me just see if I can get this a little bit bigger. Yeah, that should do. And so we can see this new Ryzen APU scores a 915. And when you compare that to an i7 8550U, again the U designator being the mobile CPUs on the Intel side, they're only getting a 350. When you look at a Core i7 7500U and an HP Envy 360, only a score of 377. And then on another HP Envy, this time with the AMD FX processor, and only about 400. But then when you look at the 7th gen, this is quite interesting because this last one here has a 950M in it, which, yes, is a mobile GPU, but a 9 series, and it's quite interesting that the score is just slightly above that. The 950M is what you would consider a discrete graphics card within a laptop. Yes, it's not one of these super duper 10 series ones, but again, that's a different type of product. The 10 series laptops, they're quite a bit thicker. They're more power hungry. Whereas this new Ryzen mobile CPU with Vega built in is going to be really, really quite interesting. What they're saying is AMD's claiming respectable frame rates, so a minimum of about 30, averaging to about 60, in games like Dota 2, Overwatch, albeit you're going to have to reduce your quality settings a little bit. But it's just quite a nice kind of thought of having a thin, like an ultralight laptop that doesn't consume a lot of power, that doesn't generate a lot of heat, and possibly being able to get some pretty cool performance out of it. And then, of course, if it's going to be Ryzen, the chances are these are laptops that are going to be quite a bit less expensive than what a lot of the Intel offerings are. So I just came across that, and I thought it was going to be quite interesting. Because to be fair, when it comes to laptops lately, for decent ones, I mean, you want to go with an Intel chip. The older APUs, the A10s, the A8s, the A6s that AMD had offered, they weren't really that great, if we're completely honest. They operated relatively cool. They had good power consumption, but not very good performance. But no, the new mobile Ryzen, which is coming out, I don't think we have an actual date yet. No, I don't think so. Don't think there's an actual date, but hey, it can't be too far away. But no, they definitely look good, because I mean, again, the differences between a desktop and a special laptop CPU. I mean, you look at my CPU, for example, is rated at a power draw of 88 watts, but because I overclock it and whatnot, I'm probably drawing about 120, 130 watts. Whereas this Ryzen mobile CPU that has Vega built into it has a rating of 15 watts. That's ridiculous. So no, we'll be keeping an eye out on the those new Ryzen mobile CPUs.
It's good to see AMD still pushing for it.
Oh, big time.
Good.
I mean, you look at how long we talked about AMD when they hadn't released their stuff yet, when we're talking about, oh, Ryzen's coming out, Vega's coming out, Threadripper's coming out, and aside from the video cards, you know, they delivered everywhere else. To be fair, the video cards, they are getting better as the drivers are getting better. We are starting to see these performance gains. But no, it's just nice to see them also getting into the mobile market as well.
Yep.
Because one of the things we never actually discussed really was the EPYC chips from AMD, and that's their server. That's the competitors to the Xeons on the the Intel server chips that they have, the crazy ones where like a top of the line Xeon CPU is like 14 grand.
Yep.
But no, AMD they're still trying to bring the battle to Intel and try to do
it's
it.
Good. It's good. Good bit of competition's healthy.
Indeed.
Good.
Indeed, it is.
Well, they do the tech. They bring the tech.
They do the tech.
Tech.
Because AMD, funnily enough, had their stock went down. I think. Oh, what was it by? I think it was like about 8% or something, just in the last couple of weeks. But then AMD's stock has always been really volatile. It's always affected by like negative reviews or performance benchmarks and stuff. So it's a bit unfortunate. So it is. But with that said, that is the final bit of news this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know, if you're watching this on scrawlygamers.com, make sure to check out all our other great articles. We've got reviews, we've got opinion pieces, we've got some nice actual factual information. Just have a look around. Also check out all our other streamers who are mostly over on Twitch, but hey, don't worry, I don't hold that against you. You know, it's a great platform. And also, make sure to check out our YouTube and whatnot. Just yesterday, because if you're watching this on Scrawly Gamers, obviously this will be yesterday, Armchair Gaming, the latest episode came out where my good friend the Unbearable Gamer used Destiny 2 as the backdrop for Personal Identity. So definitely a good watch. You should check that out sometime. But that is me, that is Gim and Sergeant J. Again, thank you gentlemen for joining me this
always a pleasure.
Fine evening. And we shall catch you again next week. So we shall.
Yay!
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later.